Okay, we're recording.
All right, awesome. Good morning, guys. This is Top Tier Talk for November 4th. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully you remembered to change your clocks. Here we don't change them, which messes me up more than anything, quite honestly, because now it's 10 o'clock. I'm used to this being a 9 o'clock meeting for me, and it is not anymore. Anyway, we're going to talk about lead gen and some other things here this morning. So, good topic, I think. First thing I want to do before we even do the mindset moment is just a little housekeeping, because there seems to be some confusion, not with most people, but with some people, and it's frustrating. It's not just frustrating for me, it's frustrating for probably the new member as well, and maybe even the sponsor. When somebody goes to register.prosperitynexus.com and they start their subscription, right? They pay their $74.95 a month, and then they're on subscription for $24.95 a month thereafter. They're required, in order to get their account approved by us, to forward the receipt. Okay, and there's a screenshot. Hopefully you can see this good, but there's a screenshot of the receipt down there, and the instructions say simply, please forward the email that you got from PayPal, see below, to admin@prosperitynexus.com and CC your sponsor. Okay, we need this for our records to approve the new member. What happens What happens more often, well, not more often than not, but what happens occasionally is we get screenshots. I literally had somebody over the weekend that took a screenshot of this page and sent it. Okay. So I responded back. I'm like, hey, please follow the instructions on that screenshot that you attached to the email so I can approve you. And nothing. They went to their sponsor and said, hey, I'm not approved yet. So it's pretty simple. But as a sponsor, as somebody who does sign up a new member, don't contact me or Michael saying, hey, did my new member send in their receipt? Because they're supposed to copy you on it, right? So if you didn't get the copy, you have to assume that no, they did not send the receipt. So
and here's the deal. I signed up someone a week or two ago, and they couldn't find their receipt. And it ended up being in their spam folder. So sometimes people don't think to check there, or they don't know how to check there.
Yeah.
So that happens sometimes, and so they checked their spam folder and found it, and it was all good. But just remember that. Now, the other reason why we want them to send a copy to you as well, not only so that you get it, but now we know who their sponsor is when they forward the email to us with a copy to you. So it helps us help you. And if you'll stay on top of it with your member, I mean, that's an important part of the business. The whole thing here is getting them signed up, getting them into the system, and this will do it as quick as possible if people follow instructions. Right?
Yeah. With a sponsor, you can't and shouldn't be moving on with any more of the setup until that's done.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, it's hard to move forward, since they're not.
Yeah.
But the bigger thing is you don't want a new person who's just paid, a few $1,000s or whatever. Then they set up you don't want them getting frustrated.
Right.
You don't want them wondering, well, why aren't I approved yet? So as a sponsor, you're right. You want to stay on top of it. Okay, enough of that. Henry Ford, we all know who he is, right? Started a big car company. A man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. And yeah, this is really kind of apropos in our business, and it's going to lead into what we're going to talk about, because, one of the things you can never do in sales or business ownership, right, is to stop advertising ever, because you're going to then have less leads and make less money, right? So even when things are going bad, you got to keep advertising. you know, you see your big companies out there that are already making millions or billions potentially dollars. You see ads from Amazon, still iPhone, you know, all the big companies advertise. And, you know, we're small companies. We're, you know, one person operations, but you can't stop advertising. You got to stay consistent with it. And we talk about it. Don't let it go in one ear and out the other, though. You got to keep doing it. You got to stick with it. And we're going to talk about some more, you know, details about that in a little bit. Guys?
Yeah, we can't emphasize that enough. You've got to stay persistent and consistent with your advertising. And, you know, if you can't do a lot one week, do something. Keep at it. And the longer you're in this business and the more advertising you do over the long haul, the better your results are bound to be. So it's very important that you stick with it and stay at it.
Kind of like if you want to stay alive, you got to keep breathing.
Absolutely.
So if you stop breathing, there you go.
All right. We'll end on that note. All right. What are we talking about? Okay, you know, we're just going to keep this here all the time until we get better at this. You know, get your prospects to the weekly webinars. Okay, send out your invitations, you know, the beginning of the week, and then, you know, follow up with the replay the end of the week, right? After. And, you know, continue to do that. Be consistent with that. In addition to, I was talking to one of my members over the week, or we were texting actually, and, you know, sending out broadcast emails is so important to keep your name in front of your prospects or your leads. You know, and if you've, you know, here we are on November 4th, if you've generated any leads in your system prior to October 4th, they're not getting any emails anymore. They're getting nothing from you unless you initiate the communication. Right. And the easiest way to do it, especially if you have hundreds or thousands of leads in your system, is to send out broadcast emails. So make sure you're doing that 3 to 4 times a week is really essential. That follow-up is so key to finally getting people to, you know, to raise their hand and say that they're in. All right. Let's talk about advertising. Most of us are doing Craigslist in one form or another. So we'll talk about that more specifically. $125, 6 ads weekly to generate 20 to 30 leads per week. Michael, you put those numbers together. So
yeah, that I have been, you know, really kind of keeping track of what the results are based on the dollars and the numbers of ads that you run, and this is pretty consistent. It goes up, it can go down. It does depend on the markets, obviously, but if you place 6 ads, a good combination of size of markets, meaning, you know, 25, some 25, 35, and even $45 markets, but also some smaller ones. If $125 per week in a combination of ads like that is going to generate somewhere between 20 and 30 or more leads on a weekly basis. And then out of that, if you're running the appointment funnel, you can expect on a weekly basis to get typically 6 to 10 appointments. Those are initial conversations or consultations. But that's one way. Then go ahead and click. If you're sending direct to the website without the appointment funnel, directly to your website, you do this kind of a formula. If you want more leads, double your ad spend. You know, instead of 125, do 250 or something close, you know, around $200, and you'll get more leads. And that's just a fact. Now, you know, different markets generate different numbers of leads. So you just have to bear that in mind. And if you track your leads like we have recommended so many times here, you'll be able to see which markets are effective for you and which ones aren't. And the other thing is, the smaller markets, you do not want to repost them every week. They'll work for you over a period of time. I'm talking about the $10 and $15 markets now.
Yeah, they should be good for the month, I would think.
They should be good for the month, and they should consistently generate leads for you. And if they do, then guess what? When they expire, post them again, and go from there. Now, the direct to the website approach, like we were talking about last week or week before, whenever it was, you really need about 100 leads to be in a position for a sale with that type of a strategy.
Yep.
And follow up is key, right? Like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, really, at least, I mean, this is my preferred strategy, quite frankly. I'm one of the only ones on the team that does it this way, but, you need a lot of leads. Okay. You do need a lot of leads, but, and you need to follow up. Okay. You can't just count on the autoresponders to make the sale for you. It's rarely going to happen. Okay. You need to send out the broadcasts. You need to stay on top of the leads, but, it works. You just need more leads. That's all. And with our commissions, the smallest commission is $2,000, obviously. You can spend money on advertising because you're going to get it back. Right. So it's not like one of these businesses where, we're looking at lifetime value of the customer and you're going to make a little bit now. You're not going to recoup your advertising costs maybe until sometime down the road. Right. You're going to recoup your advertising costs with a sale. Yeah. So, don't be afraid in that regard to spend money because you're going to get it back if you're consistent.
Now, solo ads, Steve, you've done some recently, but that's another way to generate direct to the website type of response and to build your leads up. And they're less expensive by far than what Craigslist ads are. You buy clicks, basically, is what you're doing.
Yeah, let me get off this for 1 sec. So I want to go to this site that I bought them from. Actually, let me go to our site here. Advertising. Yeah, solo ads. I think solo ads are valid. I mean, you got to get a lot of leads again, probably more than you need from Craigslist, quite frankly, because you never know if the leads are beat up or not, right? And there's going to be a mix. There's going to be a mix of leads that have been beat up and they're not good prospects anymore, and fresh leads. Well, I was playing around with this. I messed up the spacing. But anyway, this is where I bought it from. This is the one I recommend, Udemy. And I'll just kind of show you what it looks like. Whoa. I guess I'm logged in. Okay. Yeah, you have to set up an account. Okay. It's free to set up an account, but you need to set up an account. But let me just click on Find Sellers. And this is kind of what you're going to see. You're going to see a price per click. Okay. So figure you're going to order a minimum of 100 clicks, and probably a lot of them are going to have $200 click minimums. So, 40 cent is going to cost you $80 for 200 clicks. Okay. Or if they sell 100 clicks, 40 cents. And you can kind of scroll through. You can find people that have good ratings. This guy's got a lot of thumbs up and very few thumbs down. Okay. So some potential there.
But now, one good thing to just keep in mind, buy a test batch from you went silent, Steve. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lost audio again for some reason, I think.
Initially, these people are looking for,
Yep.
A lot of times they're looking for free stuff or cheaper opportunities, but you're looking for that one person that maybe is a bigger thinker and is looking for something and has some funds available. So there's always gold in there somewhere. But you need to go through lots of numbers with this strategy to find that gold.
Yeah, what I was saying, you cut out there for a little bit there, Steve. But what you want to try to do with these, I've done it this way, and you buy a test batch, whatever the minimum is, and then if it works for you, be consistent with it. If you don't buy a bigger batch, and so that you're generating leads on a consistent basis overall over the long term.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And you want US traffic, right? You want you want tier one, first of all. What tier one means is US, Canada, Australia,
UK, Australia, New Zealand, yeah.
UK, and New Zealand, right? That's the
Yep.
that's the tier one. You definitely want that. But beyond that, you want to have a majority of the traffic be US based traffic, ideally.
Right.
Okay.
And you know if you'll track your ad spends on these as well as Craigslist, you can track these as well. That way you'll know where the leads are coming from, and you'll be able to see where the traffic is coming from too. You monitor your system, you'll be able to see where the traffic is coming from on each lead.
Yep. All right, let's go back over here. Present.
You're gonna have to. There you go.
Solo ads. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, it generally takes, as we've said many times, 8 to 12 leads through your three-step sales process to get to a sale. And just to remind you what our three-step sales process is, go ahead and jump here. You've seen this in our webinars. You've seen it on the presentations. Step one is generating leads, and that's what you're doing when you're placing ads on Craigslist or buying solo ads. You're generating leads. They get into our system. If they're direct to website, they get educated by our website and or webinars when they attend one of our webinars. And then the third step, and this is key, is having a three-way conversation with one of our VIP leaders to help you answer your prospects' questions and help you close the sale. If you're not doing step 3, they're not getting completely through the system. So it's 8 to 12 people that go completely through, have that interview or the three-way call at the end. That's what matters. So there you go.
And remember, step 3 is not just necessarily a one-time close. I mean, I'm working with somebody for 3.5 weeks now who's had 6 follow-up Q&As, and it's not that he's an idiot or weird. He had to check with his wife, and then he's checking his this, and then he gets another question. So that step 3 can be ongoing, you know.
Yep. Yeah, and this funnel applies to both methods. Obviously, with direct to website, I got a call on my phone number off of my website on Saturday that I playing phone tag with the guy, and then I have an appointment at 11 coming up here with somebody else that I've never talked to these people before. So I'm jumping right ahead to step 3, where I'm going to have a Q&A call. They have some questions. Both are interested in the opportunity because they've already reviewed it, right? So, we'll keep our fingers crossed. But, I'm kind of, with that approach, I'm skipping the initial interview and jumping right into that first communication is the Q&A call.
And I've got a new member who works during the day and basically has to use the direct-to-website process. He's generating a good amount of leads. We've had a number of conversations, like Steve just mentioned, with prospects that have been through the website. And it's a closing call when you get to that point with them. So, or at least it's a Q&A that could lead to a closing call. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
So that process definitely works. So whichever way you choose to do it, do it.
Well, it's almost an interview and a closing Q&A with that method, because you sort of are talking to them about their background and establishing rapport. It's just that, like Steve said, you're doing it after they've reviewed it. So on one hand, that's kind of cool, because if they're already contacting you, then at least they're probably through the sticker shock.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I found.
Not always, surprisingly enough, but most of the time, yes.
Now, interestingly, each one of the ones that I've talked to so far with my new member afterwards have been either at the $2,000 or $3,500 membership level. when you get a chance to explain the bonus option, guess what? They're more interested in the 35. So
yep.
There you go.
Yeah, and page 132, is that the one that your members in there, Michael? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems to be the best converter right now. So if you do want to go with that approach, I recommend page 132.
Yeah, it's converting pretty consistently at 30% plus. So that's
can't beat that.
Nope.
Does anybody have any questions on this? You know, we covered a lot of information here in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I have a couple $10 and $15 ads that are going direct this way, and of course they're really small markets. But I'm still 2 weeks later, I'm still getting a lead or two here and there from that $10 market. So don't underestimate those guys.
Yeah. But if you're going to do $10 markets and spend $125, you've got to have. That's 12, at least 12 ads. And here's the way I recommend my people that I'm working with personally. I have them set up 2 Craigslist accounts to start with, and we put 3 ads in each account. And that seems to be safe. It seems to work well. And, when they're running small markets one week, they can add more small markets the next week and continue on. But that tends to be a pretty good formula that seems to work.
Yeah, and I haven't heard of any problems lately with any of my people anyway about deleting ads or closing down accounts. Have you?
No, I haven't. But, with a brand new Craigslist ad, I'm still kind of concerned about them getting hit somehow. So, you can increase the number of ads in your Craigslist accounts over time, I believe, but I think a good rule of thumb, and that's what I do, is I recommend 2 accounts starting out and 3 ads per account. So there you go.
Do you have to use 2 different credit cards?
I haven't run into a problem with that yet.
Oh, so, okay. So I've only ever used
to be a problem.
I've only used 1.
And I'll do like 1 to 2 ads a day or whatever, and I haven't had any issues.
The most I've ever taken out in one day is 5, and I've never had a problem, but I don't usually push that. I usually do 3 max.
Hey, Michael?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, to be able to set up multiple accounts with Craigslist, are they still basing it on phone numbers? In other words, you need an individual phone number for each account?
So that's a good question, because they don't always require you to associate a phone number with an account lately.
Oh, yeah, mostly different emails, I think.
Separate emails from every once in a while. I'll have somebody have to verify their account with a phone number, and you can only associate 1 phone number per Craigslist account.
Right.
But that, for whatever reason, that I'd say over the last 6 months, I've only had that happen once or twice.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
But, Michael, if they require you to verify it, and they may do it over, later, that's what happened with these.
Right.
You just have to be sure you have some phone numbers, your spouse, friends, whoever, if you've got multiple accounts.
And would those phone numbers necessarily have to have your name attached to it, or you just
they just have to. What they do is they send you a text to verify, and then you have to enter that code on the page for your account so that it verifies it, and then it locks that phone number to that account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, don't forget, since we're talking about lead generation, business cards. I don't know if you can see this, but here's a business card a brand new one that I just put together with my little picture. And
are you sharing your screen?
No, he's showing his card.
To
his camera.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Well, I wasn't trying to make it real clear. I just want to say, and I learned this in the MLM I was in, the 3-foot law, which is you got business cards on you and you're out shopping or you're doing whatever, you can selectively, hand somebody a card the other day, and I got this guy interested, and I don't know if he'll ever coming in. He's a poor Starbucks guy I was watching, and he was slaving, and I'm thinking, God, standing up there for 8 hours and going from one drink to another, and he looked pretty frustrated. And he got to me and he gave me my thing, and I said, I broke the ice. I said, man, I don't know how you could do this all day. And he leans over, he goes, I'm barely here, dude. So, I handed him my card, and I said, hey, you don't know me, but go to this website that's on this card. This may be an alternative for you. He goes, thanks a lot. So he showed up, and he's already texted me that, called my 800 link number, because that's on there as well. And, sometimes we don't realize how many different people we run into in the course of a week that you could hand out a card to.
Yep, that's good. Good.
That's a good point, because a lot of the people who are working retail, especially, and that's who we run into a lot, right? When you're in a store or whatever, they don't really like that job that much.
No.
Now, they're not getting paid a lot, so that's the trade-off, whether or not they're a good prospect or not, but they're probably a willing prospect. And, you find the right person and,
Yeah, and some people that have steady jobs may have money. I mean, they may have been saving some money.
Well, one thing for sure, they're in a better position to qualify for a loan if they have a job.
Right.
For certain.
Yes, good point. Yep.
And people that make more than a minimum wage, a department store or a bank teller, I think they make a little bit more than a Starbucks or a McDonald's person. So.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And if you walk into Macy's and you're going shopping, there's poor people standing around. They're bored up the wazoo, and everybody's walking by their counter and they're looking at you like, oh, could you please ask me a question?
That's because nobody goes to Macy's anymore. That's a valid point. I mean, right. And that just kind of goes along with the mentality to always be thinking about generating leads. When I got involved in online business 10 years ago, the one thing that was drilled into me was focus on generating leads, right? Just go through the numbers, just keep generating leads, because some of those people are going to be interested in whatever it is that you have.
And if you are broke, don't make that be an excuse, because business card approach and warm market, which we've already discussed, and there's a recording in the top tier, are still ways to keep leads coming into your pipeline. So don't ever buy into, well, I don't have any money and I can't promote. I mean, that goes hand in hand with our mindset thing in the beginning here.
Yep. Am I still sharing?
Yeah.
You are now. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got your business card section here, right? And you can buy them.
Probably like $25 for 500 or something.
You can get them from Vistaprint, or you can buy them locally. Vistaprint's probably cheaper.
Hey, just think if you handed 3 to 5 cards like that out a day with top business people, you're going to get leads.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point, Frank. Where's this? Oh, Warm Market. I think I put the recording up of our top tier talk from a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So you can watch the Warm Market one. Not everybody wants to do Warm Market. I get that. But if you are somebody that does, watch this, and because it's free.
If you're broke and or have a big warm market, that's 2 reasons to consider warm market.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. Any questions on this stuff? You guys good on Udemy? I would set up an account and check out those solo ads. I mean, why not, right? It's pretty cheap, and get some leads into your system.
But one thing about Craigslist ads, I know you ran into this last week, Steve. I haven't run into it yet, but some markets may be increasing their rates slightly.
Yes.
$5 or so. I placed a good number of ads this weekend, and I didn't see any price increases on any of the ones I
didn't either.
So,
Steve, you're cut out again.
Yeah. And by the way, Steve, if you navigate to the Craigslist page real quick so they can see the list of the
Yes, Steve, you were talking and your mic was out again.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
so. That might not be the webinar problem because this is a meeting.
No, it's something with your computer. I'm thinking, but maybe not.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Wait, what was
all
I
the way
just
down?
Oh, here.
Right there. Yeah. This is the list of all Craigslist cities, and you can sort it by city name, by state, or by cost of market. So this is a great resource for you to utilize. You can see the tabs down at the bottom. You can sort it by any of those parameters there. So, these may or may not be totally up to date if Craigslist has increased the cost of some markets, but it's the best we have right now.
You'll find out as soon as you, post
Yeah,
it.
and if you do find out, let us know so we can fix it. Okay.
Yeah, I noticed quite a few cities myself placing ads this week, especially some of the higher ones. $25 ads are going to go to 35, 35s are going to go to 45, and a lot of those were going to take effect on the 5th of November. So if you
so place ads today.
If you want if you want to get in under the gun.
I wonder if San Francisco is going to go up from 75 to 100.
Well, there's one way to find out, right?
Yeah, and if you do discover a change, let us know. All right.
I want to see if San Francisco is jumping up.
I can't imagine.
I don't even know where it is.
I can't imagine they're that high in the first place.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but anyway.
San Francisco is not as big as LA or New York or Chicago, so why the heck are they 75?
Well, the other side of that is every time I've tried to place an ad there, they haven't worked. So
I don't see an option. I go Santa Barbara, Santa Fe, Santa Maria, San Marcos.
It's not actually called San Francisco. It's Bay Area or something. I can't remember what it is.
All right. Well, good. All right, guys. Hopefully this was
everybody.
Reporting up here this afternoon.
All right. Y'all take care.
Hey, great job.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.